Hi guys, this is Leif, aka Evil Nerd Inc., and today I'm going to start off showing you what I'm calling the Infinite Terrain Project. So over the last couple months I've gotten commissions from local game shops and stuff like that to come in and refurbish their boards, and basically what that means is I'm just retexturing their boards, putting sand on it, painting it, making them look slick and professional for tabletop gaming. I learned how to do that a long time ago, as well as build terrain and stuff like that. And because I've been in the hobby, I've been doing art for a long time, and part of what kicked off my interest in art was tabletop games, miniature games like BattleTech, later Warhammer 40,000, stuff like that. Long line, it was War Machine and other things like that. So what I'm going to do is I've been working on some terrain for myself, partially because I like having a personal gaming table to invite friends over, hang out, have some beers, whatever, and play some games. But on top of that, I like having nice terrain, and sometimes I'll pack up my terrain, I'll take it to stores and stuff like that, and throw down, because even though a lot of stores will have terrain, it'll be suitable. It'll work for playing the game and stuff like that. But if you have nicely painted armies and stuff like that, you can't really get into it. So, I thought, as long as I'm doing this work myself, I might as well record it, put up videos, do a step-by-step guide on how I do stuff to show you, how I do it and how I can make some, I would say, arguably some pretty professional-looking terrain. So, what I'm thinking that I'm going to do is, because the terrain does take a while and I'm building multiple pieces, what I'm going to try to shoot for is each month doing one series of tutorials for a type of terrain piece. So, like, to kick it off, I'm going to start with some basic stuff: craters, hills, pieces of battlefield scenery that are used in all different types of games, and on top of that, it's just needed. It's something that you need a lot of the time, whether or not you end up using more like bunkers and cities and stuff like that. One of the first things that you always need is craters, hills, sometimes forests, stuff like that, depending on what the world that you imagine is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start low. When I say low, I'm talking about the skill level that's required to get really nice looking pieces of terrain for these projects is going to be lower. It doesn't mean that it's not hard. You still have to sweat a little bit and work, but then as we go forward, I'm going to get into more complex projects about how to build really nice looking city terrain, bunkers and things like that, objects that aren't so organic, so you can't just kind of haphazardly go at it. You have to have a very concise plan. So some of you may be thinking, what's with the scarf? Is it cold? And the sunglasses and stuff like that? No, I was just outside cutting, which I'm going to show in my first video, which is how to make nice looking bases for all of your terrain. A lot of people know to use MDF or hardboard, which effectively looks like this. If you want to use this, that's great. This is what I suggest. But what I don't like is when it's just squared off on the edges. People just cut literally a square and then they'll put their piece of terrain down on it. That, for certain things, that works. Like in a city terrain where it's like blocks and then there's like roads and stuff like that. Like, it kind of mimics the look of a curb a little bit. But everywhere else, it doesn't look right. So what I'm going to do first is show you how to take that piece of hardboard or MDF, whatever you want to call it, and or masonite board is another term that some people use, and how to bevel it. So it's going to give you a nice soft transition from the flat top, and it's not going to have 90-degree angles that it's hitting at. The reason I'm wearing this stuff, first of all, I'm always wearing my hat in the videos, but I've got sunglasses for eye protection. I find that you do need eye protection. I use a Dremel, which you'll see in the next video, and it's kicking up sand and stuff like that, and sometimes little bits of things will come flying at me. So ideally you should have safety goggles. These are not rated as safety goggles by any means, but these suffice for me, and I feel very comfortable using these. So if these are just a few safety tips in advance. The other thing is, this is a scarf that I use for keeping the sand and dust and stuff like that out of my mouth, my nose, and stuff like that. It is not like a mask that is necessarily going to keep everything out, but it helps quite a bit, and that's important. Not a lot of people think about that, but like when you're working on modeling and stuff like that, if you're kicking up a lot of dust, whether you're using it on masonite board or you're working on resin particularly, if you breathe in a bunch of that dust, it's very, very bad for you. I have done that previously before I knew that it was so bad for me, but I've learned over the years to be more cautious because I want to keep doing my hobby and keep doing art to share with you guys. So that's what it is. Just a few little safety precautions. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, and there's plenty of adults out there that are going to make their own decisions. If you're a kid, talk to your parents. They will straighten you out with some safety guidelines. But trust me when I say that it is definitely worthwhile to wear some sort of filter, like a mask, a bandana, something like that, just to keep from breathing in sand and sawdust and stuff like that. I had one experience in Germany when I was building some tables for a friend that I ended up breathing in a bunch of the sawdust and stuff and got really, really sick. And I hadn't realized it because I was working in an enclosed space, and so I saw the sand and stuff kind of getting brushed off to the side, but it was just filling the air in the small room, and I got quite sick. So that's kind of when I learned my lesson. So that being said, also it is best to work outside or in a very well ventilated area, which means a big space where you don't mind getting a bunch of sand and stuff all over the place, or sawdust, whatever. So those are my 3 tips. I'm going to start off in the next video showing you the preliminary steps, how to make this. So we'll get into that in a minute, and I'll talk about the various steps, and then we'll go through the first step in the video, which is making the base, which is going to give you this nice soft kind of rounded edge. If you can see, hopefully you'll be able to. It doesn't look unnatural on the piece of terrain where it's squared off. So I'm gonna walk you through step by step how to do this entire piece of terrain. But the first thing it always starts with is the base, and that's going to be true for pretty much all of the terrain that we're going to be doing. Whether we're doing barricades and defensive lines, if we're doing buildings and bunkers, hills, craters, even city-style pieces of terrain, or like just wreckage and stuff like that. Everything has a base that it's going to be glued onto, and I'm going to get more into that. So stay tuned for the next video. I don't want to ramble on too long here. I just want to kind of preview what we're going to be getting into in this project. So we're going to start off with a low level or a low skill level project like Crater. We're going to move up into hills, and then we're going to go into like bunkers, barricades, all the different types of things that you might want to use for tabletop wargaming. So if you have any suggestions of something that you want to see, drop it in the comment box, and let's get on to the next video. Thanks, guys.